Thank you, Jennifer. Am I on? Okay. Thank you. I can't hear myself. That's good sometimes. Okay. Anyway, thank you, Jennifer. You know, it's so wonderful. The other day, I opened up my iPad and I had two songs in mind when I left here 2 weeks ago that just came over me for this third talk. And it was a song she'll play later. I won't tell you what it is. And then the song by Daniel Nahmod. And she had already emailed me. She beat me to the punch. I was like, Jennifer, there's these two songs. So it was such a delight to know how awesome she is. I don't care what you ask of her. I know. When my time comes, I want her doing my service, just so you know. She did my mom's years ago, but I'm not kidding. So anyway, thank you all. And are you ready? Get ready, my soul. Yes, well, let me do a brief recap of the last two talks. How many of you were here for those? Okay, some of you were, some of you weren't. In any case, it turned into a three-parter, just how it all evolved. And I thought, okay, I'll talk about expectations versus expectancy, because that's something we look at in Unity differently, with expectancy like God is good and I know that the universe is working for me, not against me. Although sometimes, yes, it may certainly feel that way. And how do we navigate that? How do we discern the difference? That was the first talk, okay? Getting clear with ourselves about that. The second talk was really focused on, is life happening to me? Or is it happening for me? How do I know? And what do I do with it? And I offered some suggestions and some ideas that we can hear about. But I'm really big on, kind of like in Unity, many paths, one God, okay? So in this case, for you to learn how to navigate life, ups and downs, challenges, and all the things that are always going on out there, sometimes it's just like a tsunami, literally, and what's happened more recently with Helene and such. I think every time I've been up here, there's been some major event that's happened. So life is always happening, no matter what. And so, since it's many paths, one God, I'm like, well, for you to create your best recipe, if you will, your best formula, to help you forge ahead, to help you walk through the dark times and the challenges and all that, it's really important. And this word came into my mind, and we hear it all the time, but usually we hear about it with art. Curate, right? We talk about being conscious co-creators. Well, I'm inviting you to be a conscious curator this morning, okay? To become very selective. I know Jennifer probably relates to curate because you probably have lists of songs that you curate out for a particular thing. So that word, when I was putting it together, like curate, Jeanie, you know that word. How powerful that is, that we can consciously curate and be very selective about what it is we are choosing, okay? Because life's going to happen, as we all know, it is. And in any moment, what is so important for me to remind myself of is I have a choice what to do with this situation. And that's the part of, is it happening to me? Is it happening for me? It's up to me to decide how I want to look at it. I spoke about disappointments. Nobody has ever had a disappointment. I know, I certainly haven't. Have you guys ever had a disappointment? All right. But what I invite you to think about and to embrace and be open to, that would be the word. Might not even want to think about it. Might not want to embrace it. But I invite you to be open to it. Maybe a disappointment is a divine appointment. Okay? You can reframe it. You can look at it any way you choose. Okay? So this morning I wanted to kind of zero in on some things that might be helpful for you. And part of the reason I asked Jennifer for the first song and the other one that you will hear later is I'd like you to be open to this morning fact, for those of you who ever knew Bishop Carlton Pearson, I know you're familiar with him. He died a few years ago. I went to a New Thought revival, okay? And that was a sort of like, whoa. You know, I think of the old Baptist stuff I used to go to growing up, and then here was a New Thought. I thought, I didn't know they could do that, you know? Okay. So, but Carlton Pearson was an amazing man. In any case, so I'm inviting you to be open to this morning, kind of like being your personal revival, okay? A renewal, okay? We hear, you know, be transformed by the renewing of your mind, you know, but our human mind, oh, does it ever get in the way? Yeah, maybe once or twice in your life, okay? So I'm all about the immersion, hence Daniel Nabod. Let's dive a little deeper this morning, okay? For you to take a look at, to be open to what it is that resonates with you, only you. Because there is only one unique divine expression called you. May not work for anybody else, but it doesn't matter. But what we often try to do is conform to what everybody else is doing. Imagine that. Rather than stepping into your sovereignty, which is what my talk is about this morning, into your autonomy. Sovereignty, we typically think of states and countries being a sovereign state. So I'm inviting you this morning to consider a sovereign state of consciousness, right? In which you reside, yeah? And from which you live out of and have your very being out of that really cool place. There's no address. How cool is that? There doesn't need to be because it's everywhere all the time, right? One power and presence and around and through all things. If that is a belief you embrace. If that's an idea that you go, you know what? That really does resonate with me. I like that. I grew up believing there was a very wrathful, vengeful God because my dad was fundamental Baptist, born in the South. Raised in Texas, military. My mom was Russian Orthodox. I've mentioned her before. Family escaped communism, fleeing into China after the Bolshevik Revolution. She was Russian Orthodox. Totally different ideas of the God of their understanding, if there was even one. And we really didn't go to church. I think I went to the base chapel a few times. I had no clue. But what I'm saying is, you hear me mention your BS, your belief system, all right? Your OS, your operating system, that's your consciousness. Think of operating system as one source, okay? What is in there? Do you even know? Do you have a clue what's in there? When was the last time you, get ready, my soul, I'm diving in. When was the last time, I don't sing, so only in the shower. So, when was the last time you dove in to take a look? Or, you know, maybe you like a different metaphor. Maybe you'd rather excavate and dig through things. I always think of Jurassic Park back in the day, you know, when they've got the little brush and they're being really careful. Yeah. Sometimes we go in with a sledgehammer because we think, oh, I'm getting that stuff out of there. I'm clearing it out now. And sometimes we hear that. You just got to get in there and just do it. Ow, that hurt. Get in there and just do it. And that's what we do. Unconsciously, we do that. And we go, why do I feel like I was just hit by a Mack truck? Right? Rather than saying, oh, gentleness, compassion, self-love, self-care. Let me go in with a brush and gently begin to allow that to fall away. To be able to say, okay, I'm not doing this. This is my choice again, yes? I'm not doing this on my own. I'm not going into this experience on my own unless I choose to because I think, God, I don't need you right now. I know what I'm doing. Whatever. You know, you voicemail me all the time, but I let it go. You know, you try to send me messages and I go, I can't get to that email yet. I'm busy. So, no, I got it. So we go in there thinking, yeah, we're so spiritual and we've got all this stuff. And we go, whoa, this is too much. I'm overwhelmed. Because we're what? Spiritual being having a human experience of overwhelm, of stress, of anxiety, of fear, you name it. Anybody feeling any of that about what's going on in the world out there right now? Maybe, maybe not. So my question to you, among many questions, if we were here all day, good thing we're not, is when that happens, what do you do with it? When you feel a sensation in your body, and I'm making an assumption when I say that, do you feel a sensation in your body? Or have you numbed out because you don't want to deal with it? So you've shut yourself off from it and go, nope, I'm going to stay in my protective bubble over here, okay? And nothing can touch me. That world out there, they're all crazy. They've gone to hell in a handbasket, whatever words and cliches you want to use. Okay, but last talk I mentioned, what do you think Jesus, when he's on the cross going, my God, you've forsaken me. Where the heck are you? Whoa. You ever feel like that? Where's God in the middle of this or that or that? My question is, what lens are you looking through? And I brought the small ones today, right? Are you looking through a lens of love? I need to find some fear glasses. It just dawned on me this morning. Yeah, good idea. So what lens are you looking through? Do you know? When you have that sensation in your physical beingness, I really encourage you, stop, be still. Ask yourself, what lens am I looking through? If you're not sure, breathe even deeper. Because you already know what lens you're looking through. You already know. You may not want to acknowledge it, but you already know. That's what we do. We go, no, that's called that lovely, not a river in Egypt, denial. Okay. No, I don't want to look at that. I don't want to think about it. No, I just need to protect myself. So, sovereignty. What I'm saying to you now in the last few minutes is all about awareness. That's what I'm talking about right now. The power of awareness. Yes? Not just externally, but internally. I was a massage therapist for many years. And when I had clients who had injuries, okay, and say you had a shoulder that was messed up, okay, and they come in and I'm working on, there's something called proprioception. All right? And it means knowing where this shoulder is at space, in place, and time. Something called proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. That's a mouthful. Basically meaning I'm having to help this person through movement, breath, and other things, re-educate their body so there's a connection so this can move in the way that it was designed to move to the best of its ability. Okay? So proprioception, do you know where you are in space and time in relation to the world out there and where God is? Are you allowing God to be your physical therapist to help you reestablish your range of motion so that you can move with ease and grace? The more congruent you are with your beliefs and aligned with the divine, you will have fluency. You will have a more fluid movement in your life. You hear, go with the flow, be the flow. Essentially, that's what it is. But you have to be aware. If you're trying to move around in your life and you're like, oh, I'm stuck here and I'm stuck there, what's it calling you to do? Ignore it? Sure, we know how to do that really well. And that's okay. You know me well enough to know by now, if you want to ignore it, my hat's off to you. God bless you. Ignore it. It's okay. Because it's going to come back around and find you. Rest assured, it will in all kinds of forms and ways. You know it will. Yes, indeed. Boy, we could have a whole week-long thing on that, couldn't we? All righty. So, yeah, it'll come back and find you. All right. So proprioception. So where God is out there, like in Unity's first principle, right? Power and presence and around and through all things. And what's the second principle? In here, right? I am that. It's in me as me. That is called interoception. Proprioception, interoception. That I'm aware of what's going on in here. In the physical experience, it's like, oh, as I'm moving my body, I have a sensation. There's something happening in the physical form of me, just like life. With all the things that are going on, with things that are always going on, there are sensations that we have been blessed with. And sometimes some of us struggle with certain kinds of health issues that maybe we have some numbness or some other kinds of things. I know I'm still having a little bit of that with my neck surgery a few months ago, but that's okay. You know, I'm being with it. But the point is, when that happens and that sensation is there, and I'm going in to do the excavating or the diving or whatever you want to call it, am I very mindful that God is right there with me? In here, I am that expression. Again, if you ascribe to what it is I'm saying to you right now. Maybe you have a completely different belief system. Maybe your BS looks different than my BS. Probably so. And everybody else is in here. But we all have BS. You know what I'm saying? Better than BO, okay? What can I tell you? So anyway, yeah, but it's paying attention to your belief system and what it's comprised of. And again, those beliefs, the conditioning, all the things that we have been exposed to in our human lifetime, and some ancestral stuff, I won't even get into that. It's like our operating system. It's like the computer, what drives the computer. And I'm not a computer person, but I understand the concept of it. You know, I think there was a word, I don't know that it's used as much because I think now the technology is so advanced to where the computer defrags itself, right? But before, we had to go in and do the defragging. It's no different with you, right? You have to, I just told you what you have to do. You may want to consider. You may want to consider periodically, if not every day, to take time to go within. Especially now, more than ever. The energy is very dense, very thick. There's a lot going on. Geomagnetically, I follow people who measure energy on the planet, whether it's floods, earthquakes, you name it. There's a lot going on, and we are energy beings. We can take on energy and not even realize it. Even though you may think, well, I've got my bubble up today. You know, I'm so protected. It's like, okay. It's very insidious, very subtle. Sometimes you don't even know what's happening. So I encourage you and I invite you to go in on a regular basis. So when you clear that out on a regular basis, you are an open vessel to be the voice for love, to be the light that shines so brightly. That's what we need right now. We need that light to shine so brilliantly that it's blinding to where, you know what, let me close my eyes so I can go within and see through my inner eyes what's really going on. Where my perception, my perspective, all of it is so crystal clear that I can truly see through, beyond all of that outer stuff. And it doesn't mean that that outer stuff isn't going on, but I can see through it. It's like I think of Superman. I grew up with X-ray vision. Yeah. I can see through it all. And I can allow myself, and I can open myself, and I can choose to be informed by that view rather than another view that's going to take me down the rabbit hole. I love rabbits, by the way, but it's going to take me down the rabbit hole. You know what I'm saying? I hope I'm not the only one that's ever been down that rabbit hole. But it's okay if I have. It's all good. It's all good. It's a hairy experience, isn't it? Right? Oh my goodness. Where did that come from? Okay, well, I want to read you a couple things up here. Okay, I'm glad we're having a good time because this is what? We're having a what? A revival today, yeah? We're diving deeper. We're getting rid of all that stuff. Yeah, okay. All righty then. But what I was thinking about when I was saying this to you, because I printed it out specifically to read to you, and I'm sure a lot of you are familiar, have heard of, yes, Marianne Williamson? Oh, yes. If you said no, I go, really? Okay. And you've heard this before, but it is very much calling to be read this morning. Our deepest fear, this is from A Return to Love, by the way, which is A Course in Miracles, but her book, A Return to Love. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Yeah? Oh, powerful beyond measure, because then we think, oh, people are going to think I'm really arrogant. People are going to think that I'm full of myself. Well, whatever. Let them think it. Unless you give power, and this is what this morning is about, sovereignty. Are you giving your power out here, or are you claiming it for yourself? Just notice, perhaps. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, handsome, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? Which brings me right back to what? What's the second principle in unity? Are you not that? Maybe, maybe not. On the fence sometimes. That's okay. But when you know that you are, and you make the choice to live from that place, anchored in all that is, grounded in God and that goodness and grace, what other people think, what other people think of me is none of my business. I think that's Wayne Dyer, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah? Yeah. Oh, true confessions here. I can't tell you how much of my life I lived like this because I was so afraid what people would say about me or think about me. Oh, my word. I had to do a lot of work to bring myself back to a place of, it wasn't even about self-forgiveness. It was just about embracing myself and offering myself compassion for how I had lived so much of my human journey. And taking that part of me out sometimes, that sweet little kid, and say, you know what, honey, I've got you. It's okay. You did the best you could at the time, with what you knew. It's all right. It's all right. And to offer yourself that. And when you do that, then you're able to offer that to somebody else when you can see perhaps that's what they're going through too. My talk last month or so about we rise by lifting others. Do you remember that talk? Yeah, exactly. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. That's what I was just saying. We are all meant to shine as children do. Yeah, little kids, awesome. We were born to make manifest the glory within us. Yes? God expressing. It is not just in some, but in every one. No exceptions. Inclusivity. Yes? Yes. The many myriad expressions of the divine. And as we let our own light shine, we consciously give other people permission to do the same. Quote by Maya Angelou, people won't always remember what you said or what you did, but they'll remember how you made them feel. That's what just popped in. Thank you, Maya. And that's what it is. as we are liberated from our fear, our presence, what? The presence that we are expressing as a divine in this glorious human form automatically liberates others. Jesus reminds us, you are the light of the world. Let it shine. Take that dimmer switch and crank it up and then pull it off the wall so it stays there forever. That way you're not going, oh, today I'm going to dim it down a little bit. No. If you feel like that's what you need to do, that's okay. But what is that saying to you, perhaps? Maybe I need to recharge my battery because I'm just not up to it today. Yeah? That's awesome. Good for you. Welcome to the human race. Yeah? To be able to be plugged into source and know when, oh, maybe I didn't recharge today. Again, another opportunity to offer yourself some grace and gentleness and kindness. Awesome, awesome, awesome. We get to be our best teachers if we're open to it. Just a couple more things before we have Jennifer come up, and then we're going to take the meditation time and turn it into something a little bit different. I had a lot of papers, can you tell? Yeah, I always stuff at the last minute, but typically they're quotes that I'll go, wait a minute, I want to make sure. Okay. I have lots of quotes, but this is the thing I want to read instead of the quote. Mark Nepo, The Book of Awakening, he's written a few others. Love that man. The presence of God has never eliminated pain, only made it more bearable. Now, when things don't go the way I want, I try to kiss what waits beneath all want. Mysterious as it is, no matter our pain or excitement, our drama or circumstance, all that we could hope for is here. We lack nothing. The humble challenge of being human is not in agreeing or disputing this truth. That is as fruitless as arguing against gravity. Our humble way, if we can open to it, is to root ourselves beneath the 1,000 dreams and excuses that keep us from the ground we walk. Time and again, we are asked to outlast what we want and hope for in order to see what's there. It is enough. When you go home today, maybe tonight, I invite you to be very intentional about spending a few minutes in front of your mirror. Right? Yeah. You hear the giggles? I'm just saying. If you don't have a mirror, I'm going to encourage you to buy one. Full view. I know they're not expensive. Those things, you can get them wherever. Even if you have the bathroom, whatever. But I really do. I really invite you to not just look at what you're seeing, but to look into what is there. I said what, not who. Did you notice? Okay. To see what is truly there and all that you are. And then you can email me. No, I'm just kidding. And Jeanie, no, but I really do. It's a very powerful exercise if you've never done it. I remember years ago, I ran a women's group for 8 weeks, and one of the first things I had them do the first night, I had a mirror. It was about this size, and it said, I love me. We passed it around. You can only imagine. By the way, I played a lot of your songs at those 8 weeks, just so you know. But it was a powerful exercise because it gets you, you have the opportunity to get out of your human mind and to truly see all that you are in that divine expression. And it can really help you in more ways than you could ever imagine. You are the light of the world. And you are the love of the world. And when you leave here today, and Jennifer, if you want to go ahead and come on up, I invite you to open yourself more fully in every moment, wherever you are in any moment, to knowing you are the very essence of love, expressing in your magnificent human form. And Jennifer now is going to kind of lead us into a time of meditation. Some of you may recognize this amazing song to allow this to be a time of immersion, and I will lead us into meditation after she sets the tone.